All right, what's up, YouTube? All right, back with part 5 of the RICO case, right? All right, so now we're going to jump to the part where I've been released upon agreeing that, hey, maybe I'll help you, right? So they page my phone, and after I tell the main informant, you guys, the main informant, his name is Ryan Newstead. The reason I'm going to speak on him is because he's deceased. So the main informant that I talked to in the middle of the yard, his name was Ryan Newstead, aka Nui, right? So Nui is the plug's right-hand man, and they have flipped Nui, right? So I go to Nui, I'm like, I'm not telling these motherfuckers nothing. Tell homie to get out of town. I'm not cooperating at all. This shit is hot though, right? So over the next month, right? I think it was about maybe the next month, they had contacted me after knowing. First they contacted me, it was after I told the informant I wasn't going to cooperate, and he relayed that information back to them. Then they paged me again to have a sit down to discuss how things were going to proceed, right? So at that point, I started to feed them a bullshit scenario so they would put some money on the table, right? At this point, I'm trying to now rob them. Just take their money and disappear with it. Simple deal, right? But it'll get you in a lot of trouble. I didn't really know how much trouble this was going to get me in, right? So I'm like, yeah, some Mexicans with like 30, 40 pounds of weed and like 5, 10 bricks of coke. And they're like, we're not interested in that, right? And this is like the second or third time of playing this game with them, right? But they're getting sick of it because they know I'm full of shit from the jump. So, but they are desperate. They ain't have nothing to lose. They didn't give a fuck, you know? So they're like, nah, man, we don't give a fuck about that. We only want Joe Blow. Soon as they said his name, this was the first time his name had been mentioned, right? But we all knew who they were talking about. Soon as they mentioned his name, that was just too much for me right there. I said, take me downtown. I'm not cooperating. I got my bail money. Was never going to help you. Not at any point. Arrest me. Which, now this is probably the 25th time I've told them this throughout the whole scenario, right? From the start to the end where we're at here, right? So they just press me too hard, and I'm just don't even want to keep playing games with them. I have my bail money. I'm like, arrest me and take me downtown. I was never going to cooperate. This is what it is. They're like, you know what? Get out of the car. Get out. And one thing I noticed, one would always sit behind me, and the other one would make me sit in the front seat, right? I think it was like a GMC Blazer or something, nothing too special, you know, just an unmarked car, you know? And they would want to meet at this bus stop that was by Ridgedale Mall. And so finally, after like the second time of this, I just can't handle playing this game with them anymore. And I say, fuck it, right? So they're like, yeah, we're going to charge in the mail. Get out. And I knew your case was already weak. But like that? Holy shit, man. You guys are fucking pathetic, right? So I jump out the car, and I actually never get charged with it for like, I think like about a year. maybe almost up to 2 years, but then I got arrested on another drug felony and got charged with that, and like a week later, I got charged with the old case. But when they charged me, they only charged me with the marijuana. They did not charge the firearm for some reason. But when I wanted to go to trial, they were like, if you want to go to trial, we're throwing the gun in. I said, well, throw the gun in, because I know that you would already did that. You didn't spare me nothing. 3 different agencies didn't spare me nothing. Y'all just don't have it together right for whatever reason, right? So the motherfuckers don't throw the gun in, right? So I end up trying to go to trial. I get denied trial, and I end up taking a 15218 stay of imposition, a year and a day, because that's all the charge held anyway. Without the gun, they really didn't have nothing, y'all. Without the gun, they were hurting. Without that, if they couldn't charge the gun, it was a slap on the wrist probation. Even if I lost that trial, still would have been probation. Right? So in the middle of all this, you guys, the plug, he hires Joey Freeberg. Right when he catches any type of wind, he might already had him on retainer, to be honest with y'all. He hires a top flight lawyer named Joey Freeberg. Google his name. If you've been in the Minnesota criminal justice system, you know who this is, unless you're a low-level chump. Blockbuster, crackhead, right? If you know anything, you've heard of this name before, right? So he hires Joey Freeberg, right? But in the middle of this case, you guys, he gets caught poaching. He gets caught poaching. And on the tape, he got caught holding a shotgun while being a convicted felon in the middle of the woods by a DNR officer. Now, the DNR, I want to say they're damn near like, I think poaching might be federal. It's a problem. They do not play with poaching, right? So when he got caught with the shotgun in the back of his truck, there was a videotape. On the videotape, there was 11 dead deers laid out in one location. So he ended up getting charged with as a felon in possession. He ended up getting charged. Well, they didn't. I don't know if they charged him with the poaching shit. They wanted to, though. He was facing as much time for the poaching, almost as much as the drug conspiracy, believe it or not. The poaching was like what they were about to really nail him for, because at the end of the day, once he hired Joey Freeberg, they never charged him with the RICO. They never came up with enough. They had 7 years of evidence. And when it came down to the end, they didn't have it all, you guys, and they had to give it all up. So in the end, the plug did 5 years in Sandstone prison for being a felon in possession of a shotgun. The poaching, they could never charge him with the 11 dead deers because his lawyer argued that, I don't know if it was that they didn't charge him or they didn't go to trial and dismissed it, because his lawyer argued that, can you prove where those deers are in the video? It was the middle of the woods, no landmarks, no nothing, no JPEG code back in the 90s on videotapes. They couldn't prove it was in the state of Minnesota. They couldn't prove it was in the country of the United States. So he beat the poaching situation based on that. They couldn't prove where it happened beyond a reasonable doubt. Ryan Newstead ended up getting killed in a boating accident on Lake Minnetonka. I think somewhere around maybe 2000, maybe 2001. But they never came up with enough evidence on the plug to charge him with the RICO. But they had What they were lacking was drugs. They had $232,000. They had took all of his assets. They came with 2 semi-trucks and seized all his assets from his house in Maple Plain. So it was the $232,000 at the airport. It was the Dodge Viper. It was the Harley Softail. It was his property in Maple Plain. Now, he lost a lot of his possessions, but they were never able to charge him on a criminal level. But yeah, that's how that shit went, y'all. Like, you should be able to look up Ryan Newstead. He's somewhere in the obituary. He's somewhere documented in history as a body. He got into a fight on a boat with another person on another boat, and he got pulled in the water. His homie got scared and punched it and ran him over with the propeller and fucked him up. Nobody killed Ryan Newstead. He died in an accident. You know? He died in a boating accident. Always starting fights and shit, you know what I'm saying? You know? But, yeah, that kind of, I think, sums up that whole scenario. I feel like I might be leaving something out. Like, am I leaving anything out? Nah, everybody basically stood tall. No, they didn't. Everybody that he put his assets in the names of, like, he put the Harley in somebody's name, he put the Dodge Viper in somebody's name, they had businesses, they snitched to the feds and was like, that's his stuff. That's not ours. They could have just said, it's mine, I'll let him have it. They got scared and they told about his assets. So the people that he used for names, with good names, they snitched on him. His right-hand man, he snitched on him. Who else? His wife, I think they were trying to flip her, but they were married. I don't think she played a role in it. But yeah, he did 5 years in federal prison for a felon in possession of a shotgun. That was it. You know, that situation is done. It's over with. I don't know whatever became of him. He could either be dead in jail or an agent himself. The plug, I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that he turned into an agent, like some type of like narcotics, high-level narcotics fucking operative. I mean, it makes sense because he knew everything. He had the plug with the Mexicans. He knew how things worked in Mexico. He knew how drugs and money went back and forth. He knew every aspect of it more than anybody that I probably ever met. You know? He wasn't stupid. He was like all type of, if he was a criminal, he was like a sportsman, he was wasn't really a family man, but you know, he had like a lot of different hobbies that he was into. You know, there was always a buffer in between me and him until the end, when the buffer was like just compromised. Tiny was the one that was the buffer. Tiny was the one that was the go-between between me and the plug, because I never really wanted to be on that level, y'all. I didn't want to be the top dog. I knew what came with that. I didn't want all that responsibility. I just wanted to be able to make my little 4, 5, 6,000 a month, you know, at the age of, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. I was cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be all that other shit, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, but all in 1 month, I got raided. I got robbed, attempted. My homie got murdered. I got evicted from my apartment. I almost got beat to death at the tow yard. Almost got wrapped up in the RICO indictment. All in 1 month of my life consisted of that. I got kicked out of my homie's funeral by the fucking police. Like, fuck. Got stared down at the wake by Gary Lawton's crooked, dirty fucking DEA, coke snorting ass. You guys don't know. 1 month. 1 month, you guys, all that happened. 1 month. You couldn't handle a fucking week of my life. Would make you fucking fold, man.